Gabby, and welcome to Toddler Time. Here at the Grout Museum District, we have many different things for you to explore and look at, whether you're at the Grout Museum of Science and History, the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum, or the Bluedorn Science Imaginarium. Today we're going to read a great story called Mystery at the Museum, where school kids get to solve a mystery that their teacher has for them. Mystery at the Museum by Kirsten Hall. The big yellow school bus pulled up outside of the Natural History Museum. Mrs. Wong's class peered out the bus windows at the red brick building. "It's so huge," Rika said to her friend Amy. Amy nodded. "I bet it's filled with all sorts of interesting things," she said. Their friend Pedro leaned across the aisle. "Like scorpions and boa constrictors," he said. Daniel, their other friend, laughed. The class filed into the lobby and stood under a model of a huge whale. "Class," Mrs. Wong said, "there's a mystery creature on display somewhere in this museum. I will give you 5 clues. Your job will be to use these clues to find the creature. The first team to find it will win a special prize." "I'm sure I'll find it in no time," Pedro said to his friends. "Not if I find it first," Rika said. "Shh," Amy whispered. "We'll miss the clues if you keep talking." "The creature I'm thinking of," said Mrs. Wong, "looks fierce. It has a shell and long feelers. It lays eggs and its fossils date back 100 million years." Mrs. Wong handed out a map of the museum with the clues printed on the other side. "You have 2 hours to find the mystery creature. Good luck!" Daniel looked at his map. "There are so many rooms in the museum. This might be tougher than we thought," he said. "We might be looking for this creature for 100 million years," Rika added. The others laughed. "Well, let's get going," Daniel said. Amy pointed towards the dinosaur hall. "Let's try in there." The others agreed it would be a good place to start. "After all," Rika said, "everyone knows dinosaurs lived millions of years ago." Amy stood in front of a dinosaur model that almost reached the ceiling. "Look how big it is," she said. "Its footprint is almost as long as I am." "I'm glad I didn't live way back then," Rika said. "I wouldn't want to be stepped on by anything that size." Daniel waved to his friends from the other side of the dinosaur hall. "Come here," he called. "I think I found the mystery creature." Daniel pointed to the other dinosaur model. "Tyrannosaurus Rex," he said. It was the fiercest dinosaur. He saw a small sign. "And it says here that dinosaurs laid eggs. This must be it." "I think you're right, Daniel," Amy exclaimed. Rika held up her hand. "Wait a minute," she said. "Mrs. Wong said that the mystery creature has a shell." "Oh yeah," Daniel said. He looked disappointed. "But it was a great guess anyway, Daniel," said Rika. The 4 friends wandered into the next room, the amphibian hall. "Look," Daniel said, "salamanders and frogs. I love frogs." "Here's a crocodile," Amy said. "Look at its sharp teeth." "If I were a reptile," said Pedro, "I'd definitely be a crocodile." "Why?" Rika asked. "I read that they can move as fast as Olympic runners," said Pedro, "and I'm pretty fast too." "Why don't you show us how fast you are at solving mysteries then?" Rika said. Rika stopped in front of a giant tortoise. "Maybe this is the mystery creature," she said. "Tortoises have shells." She ticked off the other clues on her fingers. "And they lay eggs, and they have been around forever." Pedro interrupted her. "But they don't have feelers. Mrs. Wong said the mystery creature would have feelers." "You're right," Rika said. "I forgot about the feelers." Amy put her arm around Rika's shoulder. "Don't worry, there's still lots of places we haven't looked. We'll find the mystery creature before anyone else does." The 4 friends entered another room. It was full of crustaceans. Pedro hurried over to a display. "What's a crustacean?" Amy asked. "Crustaceans are animals that have hard shells. They live mostly in water," Daniel explained. "I learned all about them at summer camp." "I solved the mystery," Pedro cried out from across the room. The others rushed over to him. "See this crayfish?" said Pedro, pointing to a creature in the display case. "It has feelers. It has a shell. It lays eggs." "But Pedro," Daniel said, interrupting him, "look at this plaque. This crayfish isn't quite 100 million years old." "I give up," said Pedro. "We can't give up now," Daniel said. "We've had some pretty good guesses. They just weren't the right ones." "Not yet," Rika said, "but there's still time for us to solve this mystery." "Maybe we're going about this all wrong," Daniel said. "We have been expecting the answer to find us. Maybe we should think about it first and then look." "Daniel's got a point," Rika said. "Can we find some place to sit down while we think?" Amy asked. "My feet hurt from all this walking." The four friends went down a long hall. "That bench looks perfect," Amy said. She rushed over to it and sat down. "Finding the mystery creature isn't as easy as I thought it would be," Pedro said. "Every time we find a creature," Rika said, "one of the clues doesn't fit." "I wonder if we'll ever figure this out," Daniel said. Just then, a breeze pushed open a small window. A bee flew in and landed on Amy. Amy jumped from her seat and tried to swat it away. "A bee! A bee!" she cried. "Get it away from me!" "It's gone," Rika said. "You can sit down now." "Phew!" Amy sat back down. "I never knew you were afraid of bees," Rika said. "All bugs scare me," said Amy. "Maybe we should take a trip to the insect hall," Pedro said. "We haven't looked there yet." "You know, that might not be a bad idea," said Amy. "Let's do it." In the insect hall, Rika went to look at the butterfly collection. Daniel examined some wasp nests. Pedro rushed off to see an ant farm. Amy wandered over to the beetle display. "This is it!" Amy cried. The others ran over. "The beetle," Amy said. "The scarab beetle is the mystery creature." "It's so little," Pedro said. "Yes," Amy said, "but even little creatures can be fierce. The bee taught me that." "It does look ferocious," Daniel said, studying the photo of the beetle. "It has a shell and feelers," Rika said. "It lays eggs," Pedro said. "And it's 100 million years old," Amy said. "It says so right here." She pointed at the sign under the display case. The four friends went to find Mrs. Wong. She was still standing under the whale. "We found the mystery creature," Amy cried. "It's the scarab beetle." "You're right," said Mrs. Wong. "Here are your prizes." She pinned a small scarab beetle pin on each of their shirts. "How did you figure it out?" Pedro grinned at Amy. "Oh, we owe it to a certain scaredy cat," he said. Amy smiled back and the friends began to laugh. In our story today, we learned about the kids looking for a creature with feelers. So we are going to make our own to wear. The items you will need today are a headband, some pipe cleaners, as well as some glue. For this craft, all you need to do is take 2 pipe cleaners, and you can make them whichever color you like. So you can space them out, and to adhere them onto the headband, I find that tying it in a knot first helps well to secure them. And once it is tied in a knot, then that is when you can wrap them around the headband and make them into a funny shape if you'd like. You can take some glue if you feel that you want to reinforce the pipe cleaner a little more on the headband. Once the glue is dried, you have for yourself a set of feelers to wear. Hope you had fun making our craft today. Feel free to comment below with a picture of your completed craft, or post a picture and tag the Grout Museum District. Good luck with your project. Buzz buzz!